I'm just going to mute everybody, and that Carol, you will get muted. So you just need to unmute yourself. We're going to open the meeting now. It's now 9:01, and excuse me, Carol's going to give some of her kind words of wisdom. And so I am going to mute everybody. If you want to talk, just unmute yourself. So I'm just going to mute everybody.
Well, he does right now.
We'll just mute everybody. And then Carol, do you want to unmute yourself? There you go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope this meeting finds everyone healthy and happy. Okay, so if you are in Arizona, some of you are, some of you aren't, you know that now the COVID shot has now gone down to 55 and over. So if you are at 55 years old, you can get your COVID shot. How many of you have gotten your shot? Raise your hand. Good. Okay, so I'm glad to see that some of you, if not all of you, have gotten your shot. I hope that next year we are looking at least getting back to somewhat normal. I don't know if we're going to get back to a normal state yet, but at least somewhat normal. I'm looking forward to getting back to, are we going to get back to the normal state? Probably not, but at least a little bit better than what we are this year. So the board is looking forward to introducing, hopefully, a few more new things. We had talked about getting back to a luncheon, so I'm looking forward to initiating that. Ron and I were talking with a few of the officers last year about starting a tech luncheon. So I'm up for the first one. So I want to get that started. I'm hopefully
Hold on. Did you say you're buying for the first one?
Okay, I'll buy for the first one. And I would like to start a Facebook page for our club, just like Silveridge has Silveridge Connect. I would like to start a Facebook page. So
we have one.
Yeah. No, the computer club have
one.
We do.
We do.
No, the tech. I thought the tech.
We have a Facebook page.
Okay.
We do.
Well,
you see it. You see, you thought about that. You dreamed about it, and because of the mental telepathy we have, I have already done it.
Tech for Seniors has one. I didn't think we.
Yeah, you did. You did.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I really am dreaming, but so there's a lot of things that I think that we can initiate next year. Is our club going to be on the same realm that we ended up with in 2019? Hopefully not, but I think that we can start a lot of new things. So with saying that, Dewey, is there something that you would like to introduce or say at this time?
Well, nothing really, except that I think we have to remember that times change.
Right.
They don't always, I think back to the early years when very few people knew anything about computers, and that's why they joined the computer club. Nowadays, a lot of people don't own computers except for the one they have in their pocket called a smartphone.
Right,
So
exactly.
things have really changed. We just have to roll with the changes and do the best we can.
I think the years of teaching computer classes are going to be gone by the wayside. I think our new look, our new avenue will be teaching new technology. I think that's what we need to explore. So in saying that, I'm going to leave it now in the faithful hands of Ron. So Ron.
Well, thanks. Before we get started on the program, I mean, I agree 100% with what you said, Carol. I envision the new club, or the club that will occur this fall in October, will be something totally different than we've had before. And I think it will be more of a social club we'll have, you know, as Carol said, we'll have, I think the luncheons that we can do. We can maybe do some tech runs up to Best Buy that we did. Those were very popular. I still remember the ice cream. Remember the ice cream we had at the, I still remember that. That was one of the greatest times when we went up there. I think that it will be, you know, that is really what we're going to be looking at. I envision whether we will go back to, we've actually made the transition to a small room now anyway. We don't really have a computer lab, but you know, I expect that if we are going to offer courses or tutorials or SIGs, I think probably I will talk to Gordy about it, how he feels, but I think we'll probably be doing that more online and virtually rather than actually doing in-person physical meetings. In fact, if we look at a lot of the clubs that are, and I talk to a lot of clubs each week, their membership's going up, and they're actually looking at some sort of hybrid system where they're going to be doing some in-person social stuff, but a lot of continuing, a lot of Zoom meetings and so on and so forth. So we'll have to find out what's the best mix for us. But I think that sort of the way it was and the way we were isn't sort of the way it's going to be in the future, right? And also the other thing that you have to remember, when I came there to Silveridge 10 years ago, I thought, all these old people, you know, and now 10 years later, all the people coming in now are younger than me. So, and they're looking and saying, all these old people, right? So the people who even are going to be, when we come back in October, a lot of the people that were in our club are not going to be there. They're all gone. They're all will be new people, new concepts, younger people. It's all going to change. So we have to adapt with the changes. I think we can. I'm pretty optimistic, but it probably will be a lot smaller club, fewer people, but so what, you know, we'll have fun, you know, and again, it will be dependent on how much energy everyone wants to put in, right? So, and Carol, I have talked about that, and we're going to be having, that'll be one of the conversations at our next board meeting. You know, how can we prepare the club for the future, right, Carol?
Absolutely. And I don't want to eliminate the aspect of our socialization. I think that's going to be very important for our club.
I think that may be one of the key parts of the club, right?
Definitely.
You know, and probably something that everybody will certainly want after being isolated for 2 years, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, for sure. Okay. All right. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk about YouTube, and I wanted to talk about YouTube and how it's affected our lives. Many of you will know that YouTube is popular, but the actual statistics, I don't know if Dewey mentioned this yesterday, but the statistics are, first of all, that YouTube is watched more than television now. So it is now watched more than all the television in the United States. YouTube beats it all out. If I asked everybody on what YouTube, what the most common search engine you use today, you'd all say Google, and you'd be right. But the second search engine that is used around the world today is YouTube, and YouTube is the second most common search engine. So it is affecting everybody's lives in pretty significant ways. I know that it is affected my life because I spend 90% of my time on YouTube. I'm a YouTube creator. I have a big channel, a big YouTube channel. I produced over 200 videos now last year. And so it is a big part of my life, and a lot of that is tied in with Tech for Senior. And I know Bob's in our, you know, Bob's here today, and then Dewey, you know, it's affected your life a lot too, because you watch YouTube TV now. We didn't have YouTube TV 5 years ago. You spend a lot of time on YouTube, right?
Every night. I think there's not a night that goes by that I don't watch perhaps at least an hour, because it's a great source of information, entertainment, whatever you want. It's great.
Now, yeah, and so it is a big part of YouTube, but it always hasn't. So what I wanted to do initially is I wanted to play a bit of the history of YouTube, how it came to pass. And now the interesting thing about this video that I'm going to show you is that it was made 5 years ago. And in the video, they say, okay, we are going to, in the video, they're going to say, well, and greatness is going to occur. But what they don't tell you is that it was made 5 years ago. And look at what's happened to YouTube in that last 5 years. And it'll be pretty impressive. You'll see what I'm talking about. The other thing is that if you do not want to, let me just change my view here. One of the things that I think that's important is that if you don't have YouTube on your TV, a lot of people think, what is YouTube? You know, I'm sort of talking to all the converted here. I would hope there would be nobody that doesn't actually have YouTube on their TV. I mean, if you don't have YouTube connected onto your TV and are watching YouTube, then you really should. I mean, you're missing out a huge amount. And Dewey and I have talked, and we've given lots of conferences and seminars on which device you can use. If you have a smart TV, it should be able to connect, but probably the easiest way to connect is to get a Roku or an Amazon streaming device. I mean, Dewey and I have talked about so many times about that. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time talking about that today, but if you haven't, you should get someone in the club or talk to Dewey or I, and we'll help you get things sorted out, because you really need to have it on your television, because as Dewey said, Dewey watches YouTube TV, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, but YouTube is huge. So let me just get on with this now rather than me yakking along, and I'm going to share my screen, and I want you to just watch this video.
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Hi, Dagogo here, and welcome to another Cold Fusion video. In my living memory, whenever you wanted to watch a video, it had to be on VCR, and then later came the DVD player, and then we moved over to cable networks, and now there's YouTube. But only just 25 years ago, streaming videos over the internet was pretty much the stuff of science fiction. The YouTube phenomenon in of itself has only been around for 10 years, and it already has definitely changed the world. The sheer size and influence of YouTube is truly mind-boggling. In this video, we'll take a look at exactly how this platform rose to prominence and just how big it is. So first of all, the size. The 7 billion hours of video watched every month. Also, it would take you 4 straight days of watching just to view the amount of video uploaded every 60 seconds. But surprisingly, 80% of all YouTube views are outside of the United States of America. In terms of size on the web, YouTube is the 3rd most visited site on the internet and the 2nd largest search engine on the internet. So this gives you a very quick glimpse into how big YouTube actually is right now. But where did all this come from? And how did this happen? Well, let me tell you a little story. In one way, it all starts with Elon Musk. Yes, that guy that's planning to send people to Mars and already has his own space company, and the same guy who created the all-electric car company, Tesla. As impressive as this was, prior to all of this, Elon Musk also co-founded a website called PayPal. And as it turns out, 3 employees of PayPal would go on to change the world. Their names are Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim. After their days at PayPal, they were interested in creating a video dating website called TuneIn Hookup. It was a site where people could upload videos of themselves in order to find dates. And as you could guess, it didn't really work all too well, as most people weren't really interested in the idea. But as it so often happens with these things, serendipity would strike. One day, Jawed happened to notice how hard it was to find a video of Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction anywhere on the internet. This sparked an idea, and the lack of Janet's wardrobe malfunction was realized as a market need, and the solution to this need would change the world. They just needed the right formula, and the perfect formula was found within the existing video sharing site, TuneIn Hookup, whose name was later changed to YouTube. The website was founded on February 14th, 2005 in a humble room above a pizza shop in California. The first video was titled Me at the Zoo, and it was by Jawed Karim, uploaded on April 23rd, 2005. It wasn't long before YouTube had its first 1 million hit video. This happened in September 2005, and it was actually a Nike ad. This ad featured the Brazilian player Ronaldinho, and it made Nike one of the first companies to embrace YouTube's promotional potential. By November 2005, the site had already received $3.5 million in venture capital. In June of 2006, NBC and YouTube struck a deal. This helped the traditional media company enter the digital age. After this, it wasn't long before the site caught the attention of Google, and in October 2006, the site was acquired for a cool $1.65 billion.
Hi YouTube, this is Chad and Steve. We're the co-founders of the site, and we just want to say thank you. Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google. Yeah, thanks. Thanks to every one of you guys that have been contributing to YouTube, the community. We wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are without the help of this community. Thanks a lot.
At the time, Google called it the next step in the evolution of the internet. It was a pretty bold thing to say at the time because the company only had 65 employees. Things just kept going from strength to strength for YouTube, and that year, YouTube was one of the fastest growing sites on the entire internet. There was obviously something special here, but this was really just the beginning. The site was about to become oh so personal for many individuals around the world. In May 2007, the YouTube Partner Program came into the picture. This personally changed the lives of many people. For the first time, YouTube made it possible for everyday people to turn their hobbies into a business. About a year later, the most successful users were earning six-figure incomes from YouTube. In the same year, 7 out of the 16 presidential candidates announced their campaigns via YouTube. And in July, YouTube and CNN hosted their first presidential debate, featuring citizen-submitted video questions. This was also the first time in debate history where user-generated video drove the debate. For some reason, this somewhat reminds me of the first televised presidential debate between Nixon and Kennedy in 1960. At the time, many said that if it wasn't for the televised session, Kennedy would have never been elected. So the question is, did YouTube actually play a part in history this time? Continuing with the story. In August of 2007, Google finally decided it was time to start making money and rolled out the first advertisements. After this, it wasn't long before YouTube truly became mainstream. In 2009, Congress and the Vatican launched their YouTube channels, and by 2011, features such as YouTube's live streaming allowed real-time footage of anything from the royal wedding to the Olympics to live concerts or news coverage. In the same year, it became clear that YouTube could do even bigger things. It could influence world history. During the 2011 Arab Spring, YouTube played an instrumental role in disseminating messages of freedom and democracy. It demonstrated that major cultural movements could now be influenced by social media. On a different note, and in the same year, the channel Majestic Casual was founded, and some say that this channel influenced internet music culture. With an acute taste for various types of cutting-edge future music of various genres, it brought the music into the limelight, which is now heard everywhere. From 2012 onwards, YouTube never really looked back. Over the years, every few months, new features have been added to the dismay or joy of many, but regardless, saw the exponential growth of the website. It really has become its own living, breathing culture, which is amazing for the short amount of time that it's really been around in full force. So that's all well and good, but what other interesting things are there about YouTube? Just how big is it now? Well, it's bigger than TV, according to Google Executive Chairman Eric Schmidt. He already says YouTube is replacing TV watching as a whole. He goes on to say that the future of YouTube is now. This was in reference to YouTube having passed 1 billion unique visitors every month. But he says it's not finished yet. He goes on to say, wait until we get to 6 billion or 7 billion unique users a month. But that was 2 years ago, and now everyone is starting to realize just how big YouTube is, even the TV advertisers. Advertisers are now starting to turn from TV to YouTube, and one of those ways is through Google's preferred program, where exclusive advertisers, which many of them are from TV, can choose to advertise on premium YouTube channels. Not only this, but some very real celebrities have actually made their start from YouTube. Apologetically, one that comes to mind is Justin Bieber. But apart from that, we have shows like Broad City and Workaholics, which were two mirroring concept shows that got their start from YouTube skits. And now they have full seasons on primetime TV and are both enjoying a lot of success. But that's not all. Some quite interesting phenomena is happening just by the sheer amount of video that's on there. When you just have so many people uploading videos, some strange things are bound to happen. A large number of people have started to upload their old VHS tapes digitally. And because there are just so many people doing this, we can already construct entire decades of TV. So much so that if you were a couch potato 20 years ago that never went outside and just sat down and watched TV all day, the simulation that we get from all these YouTube videos can already be pretty accurate. You may be wondering what I'm talking about here and how do I know this? Well, this is my case in point right here. There exists a very clever website that was made to mimic the TV reality of the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s. The sites are called My 70s TV, My 80s TV, and My 90s TV respectively. And on here, you can watch comedy, commercials, drama, game shows, movies, music, news, specials, sports, talk shows, movie trailers, and just everything from a particular year. There's more videos being added all the time, but already it works like an actual TV of the decade. I may be alone on this one, but I personally think this is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen on the internet. It's really like unfiltered history. So just finishing off, there's so much I could say about YouTube, but it's clear that the community is very vibrant, as there's new forms of infotainment with channels such as Vsauce or Veritasium, or even channels for straight learning such as 60 Symbols or Crash Course. There's everything from hilarious prank videos with channels such as Big Doss TV or Andrew Hales, amazing special effects with Corridor Digital or Freddy View, or just straight up comedy with Smosh, Ownage Pranks and Nigger Higger, Community Channel, or even the stranger comedy of How to Basic, who by the way actually lives around the corner from me in Perth. I've actually deduced that by some of the surroundings in his videos, and I found that absolutely hilarious. Coming to a close, YouTube definitely has changed the world politically, personally for the lives of many, and collectively in the way we communicate with each other and tend to consume media throughout society. It's all very, very interesting, and only time will tell where this platform goes in another 10 years. Video on demand has never been so diverse and has never been so good. So, looking at the big picture, all of this really just started from three good friends realizing that there was no existing way of sharing an embarrassing video of Janet Jackson. It's funny the way things go. Anyway, this has been DeGogo, and you've been watching Cold Houston. Don't forget to leave a comment, give a thumbs up, and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon for the next video. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Cold Fusion. It's new thinking.
So when they talk about thumbs up and subscribe, we'll talk about that in a little minute, a few minutes. But
Hey guys, DeGogo here.
hold on.
Just want to thank you guys for watching.
So it's amazing, and the amazing part about that video was, of course, it was shot 5 years ago, and look at what's happened with YouTube TV and the tremendous changes with 5G and that's occurring. And remember, we tend to think of YouTube with what we watch and the North American market, but this is certainly a global success, and so it is occurring in all the countries around the world as well. To give you an example of how big this is, last quarter, YouTube grossed $26 billion, not million, $1 billion in advertising in the quarter. All right. The thing that's more interesting though is that to do that cost them $16 billion. So the cost of running this service, because remember, you all can upload free video. It doesn't matter. We're talking today not just about watching content. Yes, you all understand that you can watch television and you can watch all these YouTube videos as I've shown you today, and a lot of you do that. But I want you to look a little bit further with YouTube now, because you can. One of the advantages of YouTube is you can upload all your videos and any information for free, right? It doesn't cost you anything as long as you have a Google account. You all have YouTube channels, and you can upload videos. Now, why might you want to do that? We're going to talk about that today, and I've got a video on streaming today I want to show you. This is the year of streaming. What is streaming? Now, those of you who watch Tech for Seniors understand that, of course, we have our Zoom meeting that we're in today but we also stream it over to YouTube. So what does streaming mean? Well, it means that not only is it being recorded, but it's also being streamed over to YouTube. So how difficult is that? How technically, how much of a problem is it to stream? Well, there are many streaming services, and one we're going to talk about today is called StreamYard. And it is free. And it is not even software. It's just a website you go to, and a 3-year-old could do it. So there's no reason why anybody that I'm talking to today couldn't go to StreamYard, sign up for an account, and start streaming today. And where would you stream it to? Well, it says, where do you want to stream it to? You hit the button YouTube, and it will stream over to YouTube. So why would you want to do that? All right, I want everyone to think about their loved ones. Does anyone have somebody who's over the age of 80, or somebody who you think is, it has been a great person all their life and is going to die? Everyone's going to die at some time, but they have stories to tell. So many stories. Look at the history of life that they have. So what's wrong with going over and visiting them? I mean, with appropriate COVID, precautions, but going over and take your cell phone and just go and say, listen, Martha, I want you to tell me about your life story. And as she talks and, talks into the cell phone and tells you the life story, it's being streamed to YouTube, right? It's being recorded, it's being archived, and you now have people. If we all did that and we went and talked to people, just talk to seniors, talk to people who have stories and lives to tell, and record it. Simple. And it goes on to YouTube, and it's preserved forever. So that's one of the things that you can do. The other thing is, many of you like to go for walks. Maybe you have a nice walk. Byron walks with Paul, and they go for a walk, and it's a nice walk. They do a walk for maybe half an hour. Take your video camera, record it, make it a live walk when you and then have that streamed to YouTube. You would be amazed. Some of the most successful YouTube productions, some of the most successful channels that are there, all as they do is they go for a walk. They walk on nice beaches, and there's nice water coming up. But they walk and there's eagles around. Lots of times there's lots of eagles flying around. People are starving for that type of information, and they just will sign in every day to watch you go on your walk, because there's people that can't get out. So there are not just stories to tell, but there are things you can do, and it's so simple to stream it to YouTube and preserve. So it's not just watching, but you can actually participate in YouTube as well. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about finances and how this works. And the goal today is not really to tell you how to make money, although I can certainly do that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, when you visit YouTube videos, things that you can do to help the creators, and some of the things that, like Patreon sponsorship and signing up for their channel, and things that you can do to help people who create videos. And I want to tell you about 2 people, and you're going to see those in the video in a minute that I'm going to show you. The first person is a fellow by the name of Steve Dotto. Now, most of you probably know I talk about him a lot. He lives in Vancouver. He has a channel, a very famous guy called Dotto Tech, and he used to have a television program for many years, and he talked about technology. And he has a very successful YouTube channel and a business running his technology on YouTube. He has a Patreon sponsorship, and we'll talk about Patreon in a minute. And he has about 1,000 people paying him $10 a month, US. And I'm one of them, because I believe in the type of content he's creating. I watch a lot of his videos through the week. Of course, I want him to be successful, because I want him to keep going and making videos that I can watch, because he makes videos that I learn stuff from. So do I think it's worthwhile supporting him. And he has about 10,000 people, or about 1,000 people that does this, and that makes $10,000 a month. But you have a staff of 4, and he's got to make some money, and so on and so forth. So yes, he is making money, he's employing people, but that's how he makes the money. Now, You're also going to see a video about Desiree and Jordan. All right. Now, we've talked about these people before, and these are people who are sailors. And Chris Rosinski sent me a great video on all these people sailing around the world that have similar projects, and you can follow them in their endeavor. Okay. Now, which is sort of cool. Thanks, Chris, for doing that, and that's really cool. So, and you can certainly follow people along. So, but I want to just tell you this. So Desiree and Jordan are a young couple, and they decided to sail around the world, and they didn't have any money, so they bought an old fixer-up boat, and they started in Florida, and then they fixed it all up, but they started a YouTube channel and said to everybody, hey, this is what we're going to do. And they followed them along for when they fixed the boat up, and then they sailed around the Caribbean and progressed along with the goal of having a family and living on the boat forever, right? And there are people that do that, but what they would do is they produce videos and have these videos come out once a week. All right, now you remember good old Steve Dotto that made the, I told you what he was doing. So they had an event about 2 months ago in which they're looking actually at replacing their boat. So they had an event, a big announcement, and only Patreon supporters were invited. They had 2,500 Patreon supporters come to the meeting, right? They were trying to get money for their new boat, and they were auctioning off parts of their boat. They had hats, they had Jordan's this and that, and they were able to raise $25,000 just with a few simple items, just like boom. So simple things that you can do. You may lots of ideas. So I want to show you a little bit about what sponsorship is and how you can support people as well on YouTube. And I'm just going to share my screen now, and I'm going to play the video, this video. This is a video on can you make money with YouTube. This is a brief overview on how it is possible to make money on YouTube. There are many videos produced on courses on how to create your online business on YouTube. These courses can range from several $100s to, in fact, I've seen some up to $10,000. This is not such a course. It's just a brief review of how you could make money on YouTube. So let's have a look at this. There are basically 3 ways to make money on YouTube. One is through ad revenue, the second is through Patreon sponsorship, and the third is selling personal merchandise and services. YouTube grossed $24 billion in the last quarter. Now, the money is made solely on advertising. And I want you to remember that Google is the most commonly used search engine, but YouTube is the second most common. They have roughly 7 billion videos per day. The average length of a video is about 11 minutes, and they have about 500 million watched per day. So it's big business. Advertising on YouTube is big business and their sole source of income for YouTube. We'll talk a lot about ads in a minute, but this is how they work. In this slide, this shows you that the creators create content. There are users, people watching it, and advertisers. YouTube puts these together and allow creators to have advertising so that the users which would be seen by the users. So everybody that has a Google account can have a YouTube channel. You just have to turn the channel on and you will have a YouTube channel, but not everybody with a YouTube channel
can apply to have ads put into their videos. To do that, you have to become a partner with Google and enter into their partnership program. Now, I'm going to sort of rephrase this a little bit. The partnership program really isn't a partnership. What you're going to do is you're going to sign a contract with Google. The contract is really a one-way contract in which you really have no ability to change or dispute, and it can be taken away from you at any time. There are some very stiff rules that you have to abide by, or you get into big trouble. So it's not really a partnership. It's you're going to work for Google. Now, what are the requirements and rules to have your site monetized? Well, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have 4,000 watched hours from the previous year. Now, this is a lot of subscribers, and it usually takes people working on their channel about 2 or 3 years to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watched hours. So not everyone has the ability to do this, but this is how this is a requirement that you have to have before Google will allow you to have ads on your, or have paid ads on your site. All right, let me give you an example on how this would work with my apple pie story. Now, let's say you have a new YouTube channel, you've never made a YouTube video before. The first thing is you have the best apple pie recipe in the world. Let's say you truly do have the best apple pie recipe. Let's say you make the best video on how to make your apple pie. And you now upload this video to your YouTube channel. You ask your wife to have a look at it and tell you how the video looks, and she does. She logs on and looks at it and tells you it's a great video. So here's the question. You ask your wife to look at the video, and after 2 weeks, how many videos on YouTube do you have? You can think about that now. It's a question. The answer is 1, because nobody's found your video except your wife, who of course saw it. The next thing that happens is you email 20 of your friends. You say, hey, I made this great video. Please watch it. How many views would you have after 2 weeks? What's the answer? The answer is, well, less than 20, maybe about 10. Now, you've had it up there, you have the best apple pie and the best video, and no one's seen it. All right, now you go onto your social media, you go to Facebook, and you have 2,000 Facebook friends, whatever you want to call them, and you say to those 2,000 people, please look at my great apple pie video. I have the great apples pie in the world. And when you do that, I want you to click like and subscribe to my channel. Please, please, please do that. All right. Now the question is, how many views would you have in another 2 weeks? Watch the answer now. Well, the answer would be less than 2,000, but all have subscribed and like. Okay, of course, you're using social media now to get more people to come to your site. All right, you wait a further 2 weeks. How many views would you have? Let's have a look. Millions. Why? Well, because what happens is when all your friends went over and in a short time subscribed and liked, the Google algorithm that watches all the YouTube videos took note. And all that is a very high number of people to subscribe and like. So the search ranking all of a sudden went up to the top. So when people were searching on internet or on YouTube for apple pie, you would come up as one of the first. And then they would share that, because remember, you have the best apple pie in the world, and they would share that. And that's how you get your videos promoted on YouTube. All right, let's look at the second way you can make money, and this is through Patreon support. Patreon is a company that was formed in 2013 by Jack Conte and Sam Yam. And Patreon will send out about $500 million to their memberships in 2019. So what happens with Patreon is a company. And it collects money and gives it back to the content creators. All right, it's an easy way of you supporting the content creators. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of this. Now, I'm sure you all know Steve Dotto from Dotto Tech. Steve Dotto has been around for a long time and has had one of the more successful YouTube channels on internet. He works very hard and has a professional staff. Steve has about 1,000 Patreon supporters paying him about $10 a month. This adds to about $10,000 a month that he has revenue from Patreon support. I am a Patreon supporter because I believe in his high-quality webinar Wednesdays. I watch them every week and learn a lot from them. So I support his channel because I believe in what he's doing. He does have a staff of 4 and a lot of equipment to manage. But this is how he funds his channel. He probably makes some money from ad revenue, but primarily his support for this service is through Patreon support. The next was Project Atticus, and we talked about that last week. Project Atticus is Desiree and Jordan traveling around the world, and they are producing high-quality videos to send back about their travels. Again, this is costly. They have drones, they have a lot of expensive camera equipment, so they have Patreon support. There's a little different. They charge per video, all right? And they make, and so you can pay per video, but you can limit it to 2 videos a month. So I probably pay around $10 a month to support their channel and what they're doing. I'm a sailor. I've done a lot of sailing in my life, and they're doing some really cool stuff, and I'd like to support them. And Patreon support is an easy way that you can do it to support their channel. Now, the last way is, of course, selling merchandise and personal services. An example of this might be how to make or edit a video. You could, or a website, you could put up and do a seminar on that, and at the bottom of the description, you could have, and you could consult me for personal video making or website consulting. So you can use that to promote your own services. And that's the third way that you can make money. In summary, there's 3 ways to make money. There's ad revenue, there's Patreon sponsorship, and there's selling your merchandise or personal services.
All right. So I'm just going to lock it there because I want to get on with the last part of the segment before we run out of time. So that sort of gives you a bit of a gist on sort of how this works. So one of the things I would like you to think about is next time you watch a YouTube video is click the like. Help the person who created that video. They spent a lot of time and effort creating the video. It's free for you to watch, and click the like it, because what happens is when you like that is that it raises, if you get a whole bunch of people, like we talked earlier, for those of you who joined, Chris Rosinski at Leisure World did one of my videos on receipts, the Fitbit watch. And I'd done a video in December, and the watch did okay. The watch video did, it had a couple thousand views. And all of a sudden, I couldn't believe it. The last month, it's gone nuts. It's up to 16,000. Well, Chris's Leisure World, they used it in one of their talks last Monday, and I suspect probably the activity of that video has just raised it up in the search, way up to the top, and it's gone nuts, right? So thank you, Chris, for doing that. So I would ask you to please please like it. If you're watching a video and you're spending the time, what you can do for the creator is just hit that like button and say like. Now the subscriber, if you like that channel and you like those type of videos, then just subscribe. It just means that you're not going to get any email, you're not going to get anything like that, but it will just give you it will notify you when other like videos are made by that individual. And for sure, if you do believe in somebody and you believe in what they're doing, consider Patreon support. It's not, you may get nervous about it, you don't understand it, it's completely legitimate, it's totally secure, no scamming, and you're in total control of how much money that you can support with. So consider that if you like the person and you like the Patreon support. So I just wanted to let you know how that works and how YouTube manages that. Now in the final segment, and the last thing I want to talk about is what you can do I know you all know how to how you watch videos, you all watch things on YouTube, but what I want to turn it now is how you too can be a creator and create some things and put it on YouTube. And examples that I gave you earlier was the history of relatives that you have, people who are older now and are going to pass away with great memories. And it's important that we record those memories and how simple it is now to do that with the technology. And what I wanted to talk to you today about is not so much YouTube. YouTube is where you will stream something to, but how do you actually put stuff on YouTube? And in doing that, there are many different ways of doing it. A very simple way, of course, is using Zoom. This meeting that we're recording now, I could have easily streamed it to YouTube. All right. What I personally do is I download this and then I edit it and put it back up on the YouTube channel. So there's a bit of stuff, but you could just stream this straight up and have it going to YouTube. Nothing you really need to do. The only problem is in Zoom is that you have to have a paid account to stream it. All right. So that costs money. And so whether or not if you have a paid account, it's simple. You just hit the button and boom, you're streaming. But there are lots of other programs and lots of other ways to do it that are totally free and so easy. And the one that is just taken the world with a storm and is called StreamYard. And StreamYard is free. And a 3-year-old could do it. It's just that simple. There is no software. You don't download any software. There's no apps on your phone. There's nothing. It works on everything. It's just a website you go to, you enter, you log in, you create an account, and boom, you're away to the races, and it's all free. I want to give you a little video on how this works and how simple it is, but trust me, a 3-year-old could do this, and it will stream it right to your YouTube channel, and you just record. So let me go over this, and then we'll have a bit of a question and answer after this gets done.
In this tutorial, we'll be exploring the StreamYard Studio. We'll also be going live. In the previous tutorial, we created a broadcast. Now let's enter that broadcast. Every time you enter the broadcast, you'll see a tip and be given the opportunity to check your equipment and set your name. So for example,
share your screen.
Test my display name, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And you can see if you click the settings button.
Can't see anything, Ron.
You can't see anything?
Analyzer.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't share my screen. Hold on.
That's what Dewey said.
I didn't share my screen. You didn't remind me.
I did.
There you go. Sorry about that.
In this tutorial, we'll be exploring the StreamYard Studio. We'll also be going live. In the previous tutorial, we created a broadcast. Now let's enter that broadcast. Every time you enter the broadcast, you'll see a tip and be given the opportunity to check your equipment and set your name. So for example, I could add test to my display name, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And you can see if you click the settings button, that's a great way to check that your mic is working with this little volume analyzer, and also check your speakers by clicking this test button. You can also check that you have the correct camera selected at the resolution that you want. Now let's enter the studio. The first thing you'll see is this little notification here that you're not part of the stream yet. So if you were to go live right now, you would only see a black screen with no audio, which you don't want. So you want to make sure that you add yourself to the stream like this. We're now part of the stream. And you can also remove yourself from the stream by clicking that again. But again, note that this will remove your audio. So you probably just want to keep yourself in the stream. And you can see in the top right here that there's this view on YouTube link. So that's that link that we talked about in previous tutorials that you'll send to your viewers so that they can see what things look like on YouTube. Let me share my screen so that you can actually see what that looks like. Perfect. So this is what viewers that go to that YouTube link will see. And when you go live, the stream will start here. Why don't I invite a guest so that we can explore some of the layouts and see what it looks like when you invite a guest. To do that, we'll want to use the invite button and send the link to who we want to invite. I'll be sending it to my co-founder, Dan Briggs. So Dan should be joining in just a second here. Awesome. Dan is in the broadcast. And again, I need to click him to add him to the stream. So Dan's now part of the broadcast, and I'll change the layout so he can get a better view of him there. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm excellent.
Very good. So one important thing to note, and that people often get confused, is they'll remove themselves from the screen or from the stream to full screen their guest. But you do not want to do that. You want to use the solo layout. Otherwise, you'll lose your audio. So if you'll see this button here is the solo layout, and I can use that to full screen Dan, and you'll still be able to hear me in the background, but Dan will be highlighted there on the screen. So now let's try going live. So I'm going to hit this go live button, and then you'll see I get the notification that I am live. One thing that people often don't know is that all live streams have a bit of a delay. So you'll want to make sure that you don't have, I'm doing this right now as an example, but you'll want to make sure that you don't have the Facebook or YouTube live stream open at the same time, or else you'll be hearing yourself twice, which is no fun. I'm just going to go over to that stream. Let me actually show it on screen for you. Let's do the full screen one. I'm going to go over to that stream and leave a comment so that you can see how that works. So let's just say, hey, this is a test, and why don't I show an emoji so you can see how those work as well. Perfect. Now, if I go back to the StreamYard Studio, I will go back to this view, and you can see that the comment has appeared in my comment section, and I can click it to show it on screen, and it even has my picture there, which is pretty cool. And then you just click it again to hide it. And let's walk through some of the other options we have here. Banners, which some people call lower thirds. You can type these out at any time and show them on screen as a nice
10 minutes depending on time.
It says this is a test. There you go. This is a test. The branding section has all kinds of options, and this is where most of the premium StreamYard features can be found. Branding is free, though, so you can change your brand color to whatever your brand is. Let's say that it's that nice color there. If you're on the premium version of StreamYard, you'll be able to remove this watermark and upload your own, or just hide it entirely. This is our Town Hall watermark. Another premium feature is overlays. So this is our example overlay, but you'll be able to make custom ones like this yourself, which is pretty cool. We also have the ability to play intro clips as overlays, which is pretty nifty. I'll show that at the end of this stream, but first let's check out the backgrounds. So this is a pretty subtle background, but you can make something more over the top if you wanted to. Lots of people like using a solid color, so you can show and hide those at any time. And you can also choose to show or hide display names with this slider here. So why don't we turn off this overlay, play a outro video, and that will be our demonstration of the live. So this is what it looks like an outro video.
I like that.
Awesome. And now the video will be playing on YouTube shortly, which we can see. That's what our viewers will see. Now let's go ahead and end the broadcast.
So, so basically, so there are some options and simply start a stream that, and you saw the button, you just hit go live on YouTube, and you just simply record, and you could give the person the phone, and they could talk into the phone, and you could record whoever you wanted. Chris Brzezinski sent me an email the other day. I had all these things in my mind that I wanted to tell him, and I didn't want to type a 2-page email, so I made a little video. I just started talking and talked to him for 12 minutes and sent him the video, right? And so it didn't have and the nice thing about that is you can play it back, you can use it, you can share it or whatever. So there are a lot of advantages in doing this. So if you so it's simple, it's really simple, and StreamYard is free, YouTube is free, so you could be a creator as well. It's now 9:56, so I've yapped on for an hour. Wow. Does anyone have any questions? We're sort of reaching the end of our time now. I'm going to open it really up to any questions. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
I do, for one. You talk about doing the thing to after the YouTube video recommending it. I never do that because I'm watching everything on TV. It doesn't seem convenient. What am I missing? The like and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can't do that on television. It's not possible. It's that's one of the issues that yeah, you can't do that. Sorry, you can't do it on television. So, but you can watch the ones that you have subscribed to for sure. Yeah, Gail?
Yes, I have a question. Do I have to press that subscribe every time I watch one of the Tech for Seniors, or do I just press it the first time?
Just once.
Okay.
Just once. And if you press it again, it won't be red, it'll be grayed out. If you press it again, you can unsubscribe. So if you have a channel you subscribe to, it's very easy to unsubscribe. Okay.
Okay.
Chris.
Questions about the StreamYard and YouTube. As I understand, there's 3 kinds of YouTube. Sorry about the clock. It's 11 o'clock here. So anyway, there's 3 kinds. There's 3 kinds of ways you can save your information to YouTube, and I don't recall what so not everybody can see it. You can decide who can look at it. And the other thing I have a question about StreamYard. StreamYard, can you save it somewhere and then have it be put in a link in an email to somebody? So that's a couple of questions. I see StreamYard as the new email. I don't see people doing email anymore. I think people do StreamYard, and they'll be sending things back and forth like that. Does that make any sense?
Sure. So let me answer your question. So the question Chris has is that when you do make a video on YouTube, is it public or private, or how does that work? There's 3 types of ways in which you can save a video. The first is make it private, and that's no one can view the video except you or whoever is on your YouTube account. So that is private. No one can see it but you. I do that with Tech for Senior because when we broadcast it live or I put the video up, I have to edit it, and I don't want people to see it until I've edited it. So no one can see it as long as it's private. The second way is making it unlisted, and that's the way I sent my video to you, Chris. I sent it as an unlisted video. And that means that only people with that link can see the video. So you need the link to see the video. So it's not public, but it's not private, but you need the link to see it. And that's, and in this case, when I sent to Chris the little note the other day, I didn't want to make it public, because if I make it public, it goes out to the whole YouTube channel and they all get notifications on my little note to Chris, right? So in that situation, I keep it unlisted, and only the people with links can see it. Then, of course, if you do make it public,
then anybody in the world can see that, see the video. So you have three choices. Now for StreamYard, you can stream it to YouTube, and you could certainly make it as a private video so no one could see it, or make it as an unlisted if you wanted to do sort of the same thing I did. You can also stream, don't forget, we're all talking about YouTube today, but you can stream to Facebook. You can stream to a Facebook group. Now, Carol talked about Facebook. We have a Facebook page. One of the things that I'm going to be talking to her about at our next board meeting is doing something we're going to be doing at Tech for Seniors, is having a Facebook group. Facebook groups work extremely well for clubs. And also you can stream your videos to your Facebook group. So that's very simple to do. And we're going to be doing that probably at Tech for Senior. And there's a lot of advantages with that. And you can certainly do that with StreamYard. So you could stream it easy. Instead of hitting the YouTube button, there would be a button for your Facebook, and that will, you click that and boom, it goes to your Facebook group. So you can send your video wherever you want to send it, and that's how that would work.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Yep. Dewey,
okay, I'll go ahead first. I noticed that by watching YouTube on my TV, there seem to be algorithms, or maybe it's artificial intelligence or what. You know, if I start watching a particular type of video, suddenly there's more and more of that type of video. Does that also happen when you do it on a computer?
Yes.
It does.
Yes. For a good example of that would be 2 days ago, I signed up. It's called FitVR, which is it's part of my virtual reality. It's one of the programs I'm using to test out my virtual reality on my exercise bike, right? So I went to this company, but I wanted to find some videos about it. And so how to use FitVR, and I put I watched the first video. Well, since then, I get in my YouTube channel now, or my subscription, I get all sorts of suggestions on that, videos made about that software, which is great because that really helps me. That's the goal of why. So you'll find that as you search and look for specific stuff, then in your YouTube channel, you'll find lots more videos coming up on that, and YouTube does that.
Butch has his hand up.
Butch, go ahead.
In a lot of the YouTube videos, you can skip the ad in 5 seconds. How do the advertisers feel they're getting any value out of that, paying for those advertisements when they can just delete them out or get out of them in 5 seconds?
Well, in fact, you can remove all ads on YouTube, right? I mean, YouTube has YouTube Premium, and if you pay $10 a month to YouTube, then you don't get any ads. So I subscribe to YouTube Premium. So I spend my life on YouTube, so I don't have any ads. I just pay the $10 a month, and that's called YouTube Premium. The ads that you insert into your videos, once you become a partner, and I alluded to that in my video, you need 4,000 watched hours and you need 1,000 subscribers. Then you have the opportunity, and you can decide as a creator how many ads you want, what type of ads, and where you want them placed in the video. And so that really is but of course, you only get paid if people click on those ads and the ads sort of do something, right? So again, it depends as a creator where you put the videos, how many videos you put in there, how long people watch your video. So it's a bit of a skill that you have to learn in placing those ads. For example, if you put an ad at the end of your video, but your video wasn't very good and it was a 10-minute video and everyone only watched the first minute of the video, right? Then no one's going to see the ad at the end. So it all becomes, an interesting proposition. I don't have ads. I don't have ads. I don't have a paid site. But one of the things that I'm probably going to stop doing is you may or may not have seen the fancy introductions that I do. There's the lights, the welcome, it's Ron Brown, it's Tech for Senior, blah, 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 blah. That takes too long when you're making videos. In other words, people won't they'll watch the video for seconds if it's too long to get to the information. You have to get to the information quicker, and putting those long intros in, it gives you watch time, but it doesn't get people to the meat faster. You got to get them watching and get them involved, and then keep them watching.
Suggestion.
Yes.
In many movies, the movie story will start and you get engrossed in a little bit, all of a sudden then there's the introduction to the movie. You could do that.
Yeah.
You could put the intro in later.
Absolutely. And that's what people do. As they go along, and they keep it going, and the average length of time for a video on YouTube, if you're a creator, is 10 minutes. 10 minutes is the sweet spot. And the goal of most creators is to get people to watch for that full 10 minutes. Because again, that all adds. Remember, if you have a monetized site, you're trying to get people to watch for the whole video. You want to get those watched hours in. And that's why people are trying to do that, is because you got to get that 4,000 hours in each year to watch, to keep your monetized site. And that's why they're made that way.
Ron, for those that pay for premium, why are we getting an echo?
Is it me?
I think so.
Oh, I'll change my mic. Well, sorry, what was the question, Bob?
For those that are paying to not have ads, just so you know that the creators of those videos still get a portion, even though you're not getting ads shown to you. If it's a monetized video, that's took care of the echo.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
So
yeah.
YouTube kicks some of that money that you pay back to the creators.
Right. Now, just to let everybody know, I mean, it's very interesting to watch young creators trying to make a living at this, and they work so hard, and they finally get their their first ads in, and they find out that after 3 months they have enough to buy a hamburger once every month, right? And so it is a tough slog. I mean, I feel sorry for people who are trying to make a living at this. You have to work really hard. Now, it is but what most people do is work on the Patreon support, like Steve Dotto does, and you have people supporting you and saying, we like the work you're doing, and we want you to keep going at it, and so we'll help you and sponsor you with that. Or the other thing is, people will sell services. At the end of the day, if you watch a video on YouTube on graphic design of a website, and you watch this hour-long video, and the people have personally made it very difficult looking, and you say, man, I don't want to do that, I'll just hire them, right? And at the end, there's the link that says, do you want to just hire us and we'll do it for you, right? So that's another way that people make money on it. But I personally, I think that if someone goes and spends, it's amazing when Bob and I or Huey, we create these videos, and we put out the one that you just saw that I made today. I probably have 100 hours in that video, creating it, editing it, putting it up there. There's a lot of work and a lot of time that goes in there. So if you are watching a video and you are enjoying it, the least you can do is, I always make a little comment. I put a comment at the bottom and say, great video, thanks a lot. And it helps. I often get comments on videos I made 2 or 3 years ago. People say, gee, that's just solved the problem. That was great. Thanks so much. And it really makes it, Bob, you probably feel the same way. I see you're nodding your head. It makes it all worthwhile, right?
Yep.
And I made a little dumb video. It was 5 minutes, I think. It was a 5-minute video. I made it 2 years ago for Chromebooks. It was how to pin an app to the shelf, right, Bob? Real simple thing. How to pin. 5-minute little dumb video. 23,000 hits. I got 2 this morning. People said, I didn't know how to do that. Thank you so much for making that video. That was made two years ago. So
I did one on Wi-Fi when Windows 8.1 first came out. So that's 8.1. So we're talking a long time ago. That thing has 800 and some odd thousand views.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing still hold true that you did in 8.1 that you now do in Windows 10. So quite often I'll still say, gee, I didn't know that worked. That solved the problem. But
Yeah.
that's what makes you feel good. At
It
least you
does.
help somebody. Yep.
And also, if you want to know how to screw a light bulb in, or you want to, how to put crazy glue on a faucet, if you do a YouTube video and you do a search on that, you'll find someone that's done that. You'll probably find 3 or 4 videos, right? And it's amazing. If you have a television machine that's so many years old and you can't remember how to do something, do a YouTube search. 9 chances out of 10, you'll find a video that someone's done that, right? So there you go. Carol?
I just want to say, Mike and I we're parents of 5 kids. 4 of them are daughters. Many times we've got a daughter who will tackle anything in Kentucky. And many times she has called her dad and she literally took apart her washer. Now this washer does everything. I mean, it'll just about wash the dishes. That kid took apart her washer. She had about 100 parts on her laundry floor. And she goes, Dad, I don't know where parts of these go now anymore. So her dad said, okay, let's open up the YouTube, get the name of the washer. And together they literally put that thing back together again using a YouTube video, the 2 of them. And we had another daughter who took apart her garbage disposal and did the same thing. Her and her dad put the garbage disposal back, and Mike sort of said, next time, sort of remember, honey, where you put the part back and where you took it apart from. But yeah, and he did the same thing with his son, putting back, I think it was a hot water heater, one of the elements or something. But yeah, sure. So the same thing, the same premise.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I use it all the time. So, well, I've got a laser printer and I don't often put cartridges in it. It's a Brother laser. It's sitting behind me. And I had to put a cartridge in the other day. I couldn't remember how to do that. I just looked it up on YouTube and it told me exactly how to do it, and boom, boom, boom. And it was simple. And this is a real old laser printer I've got, but the video's there. But it's not just finding it and watching videos. I'd like everybody to think about creating videos. I'd like you to record yourself. I'd like you to record your parents. They're probably gone now, but maybe you have friends that are in seniors' homes that have had very, very interesting stories to tell, and they're going to die and their stories will be lost. So let's record them and let's put them on YouTube. It's free. You can do it for absolutely free. If you've got a cell phone, if you've got a smartphone, you can simply, there is no app. You just go to the StreamYard site and it's so simple to do. Chris.
Wait a minute. How many, I guess I'm unmuted. How many, what's the maximum number of presenters you can put on StreamYard? And the other thought that occurs to me is with Google's big deal about promoting your memories, and this is such a tie into that. How long do you think it's going to be before Google buys this?
Well, StreamYard's actually being sold. StreamYard sold last month to another company. It's going to continue as StreamYard. There's not a problem, and nothing's really going to change. But first of all, the answer to your question is on the free version, you can have 3 people on the stream with you. Okay, that's the free version. You can have up to 10 people in the paid version, and the paid version is, I think it's around $30 a month if you work your way up on the tiers. But I think the maximum you can have is 10 people at once streaming. And that's about $30 a month. But you can have but 3 for the free. But if you had let's say you had a church group, or you had a Bible study group, or something that you wanted to, to somehow stream and talk and do some sort of talk with groups, this is absolutely so simple to use, and it's free. And as I said, you can do it with Zoom. Zoom is not a problem. Zoom, that is the one thing that Zoom does that is hands down better than anything else. And Meet doesn't do it. Even Google, all Google stuff doesn't do it. Nobody does it except that as well as Zoom does. But the problem is you need the paid version of Zoom to do it, right? The free version you can't stream. So that means so maybe you don't have the money to buy Zoom. So StreamYard's free. So use StreamYard.
As I see it, the beauty of this is people can be in two different locations. And the other thing I like is that you can put the person who's narrating in one spot and bring up the information you want to show in the other. And it's really simple to do. And a lot of that's really hard on other programs.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's so simple to do. And remember, as I said earlier, Carol brought this up, is do you know with our Facebook page, since we've only on Tech for Senior, it's gone viral. Like, I mean, our Facebook, because seniors are on Facebook, right? It is big. And in 5 days, we have 900 people that are following us on our Facebook page in 5 days. So, I can see 10,000, 20,000. I mean, you can really see these numbers going up. It is where people are. And so, yes. And Carol, I'm going to be talking about this quite a bit at our EVAC meeting, right? The one coming up. So we'll be discussing this quite a bit at our EVAC meeting. And also I really think the club needs a Facebook group. I think such as now everybody here today would understand what a Facebook group is, because Silveridge Connect is a Facebook group, right? So there's no hocus pocus, or you don't understand what it is. For us as residents of Silveridge, then you all understand what Silveridge Connect is simply a Facebook group, and we could have the same thing for our club. And I think there's lots of advantages in what we could do with that.
Definitely. I have a question for Dewey and Joanne. Did you ever do anything with your trip to the Holy Land?
I regret to tell you, we did a little bit for our own family, but nothing publicly.
You didn't. You should.
It was a wonderful experience.
There's so many of us that will never get to the Holy Land, Dewey and Joanne, and I would love to see something, from your trip.
It's an idea.
Think about it. Think about it.
I just want to show you just a minute here. I just want to show you everyone something. I'm just going to share my screen. Have I got my screen shared here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's open.
Okay. So I just want to bring up, I'm just going to go to YouTube. I want to show you how easy it is to upload. I just hit YouTube, and this is bringing up not my specific channel, but this is just bringing up YouTube. Okay. You can see I have YouTube Premium because I don't pay for ads. So now if I bring my cursor over to the right here, you'll see a little camera here, right? All right. So we click on that camera. See, it says upload video. I click on upload video. And it brings up this menu, and all I do is select file, and then I can just click that and it uploads the video. So if Dewey made a MP4, made a video on his computer on going to the Holy Land, all he would have to do is select that file now, as long as it was an MP4 file, click there and say okay, and in about 30 seconds, it would be uploaded onto YouTube. That simple, folks. It is that simple on how to do it. So, if you wanted to do that, if you did make a video on your trip to the Holy Land, and it is you created it as an MP4 or however you did it, that's how simple it is to put it up on YouTube.
Is this because you have a YouTube channel and it goes, and then that's how you're uploading it to your channel, or
Right.
can this just go up anyway? You have to sign up for the channel first.
You do. So if you have if you have a Google account, and almost everyone has a Google account, You just have to go to there's in your account, in your Google account, there's a setting to initiate your channel, and you just have to activate the channel, and then it automatically comes up. And that's a real simple.
One other comment that Steve Dada was doing a section of a webinar Wednesday on how to more efficiently use your time. But as part of that was clubs, et cetera, should find places where people are more efficient at doing things that they can do and spend more of their time doing the things that only the clubs can do. And that's kind of changing everything in terms of the clubs, because we're reaching out for some of these programs that Ron does and other things, and now we should have more time, so we don't have to produce all this stuff. We have more time to concentrate on the things that only us as clubs can do, and I think that's good.
Well, exactly. And one of the things that's important is that if you wanted to find out how to make, in Tech for Senior yesterday, I did a show on how to make electronic signatures for Gmail, right? Like how, if you want a signature block on there. Now, I don't know if you remember, but Dewey won the contest. I had about 3 years ago, Dewey did my Gmail course, and I did a talk on signatures, right? And so Dewey said, I can do that. And so he came back, and the next week I had a little contest, and I said, okay, he had the best signatures, so he won. And I gave him a bottle of wine, and I have a picture of Dewey receiving the bottle of wine, right? Now, the thing that was upsetting was that afternoon, I thought I would go over to Dewey's house, and I went over there, and I said to Dewey, my goal of going there was I thought he'd say, Ron, let's have a glass of wine, right? And the first thing Dewey said to me was, that's a great bottle of wine. I'm making spaghetti sauce tonight, and Joanne and I are going to have that bottle of wine. And I thought, that's not the point of this, Dewey. I went over to have a glass of wine with you, so I never get to taste the wine.
I don't drink, so he must have had it.
You drank the whole bottle. So anyway, so you're right. So if you want to, in a club, and I teach this all the time and I do a lot of teaching to clubs. There's a lot of thought in clubs that they have to create videos to do something. They have to, create if they're going to do a Google Photos course, they have to create their own content to somehow create this course. And that's just nuts. I mean, Chris Gould's got every video you ever wanted at Geeks on Tour, on Google Photos. You could use all of those, and they're perfectly free to use. So that's another thing that often comes up with is, can we use these in our club? Is there copyright protection on them? And you really have to understand that anything on YouTube is public knowledge. So anyone can use it, they can show it. The problem is if you record it on Zoom and you republish it, and that has content in it that is there, and that's when you get into the trouble. But if there is no, anybody can watch anything on YouTube. If it's public, it's out there, and anyone can watch it, and that's why you put it on YouTube. With the one caveat to that is music. And I sit on a lot of forums for people. I sit on a bunch of people, like I make a lot of YouTube stuff. So I have a peer group that we get together and talk about things. And the one thing that nobody, as you get more advanced into making YouTube products, nobody puts music in nothing. It is a red flag. It is really, really, really dicey. So if you are now, you can take your video and you can stream it over to Facebook, and Facebook doesn't care at all. So you can put anything you want on Facebook, but you can't do it on YouTube. So you got to be really careful with music. And that's why in Tech for Senior, we cut out Ray's music, because even though Ray owns the music, he owns the CDs, the fact that he's broadcasting them to us in our Zoom meeting is fine. It's our private Zoom meeting. But as soon as I turn around and put that as a public video out there, then I get hit right away with a copyright violation. It was like seconds and I get nailed with copyright. So you can't do that. So you have to be careful with music.
They never ever put music in any of the videos anymore.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is Byron was upset with me first. I did a few videos and I did a few videos and I had background music in the videos. I ran a background little music, you know, and Byron phoned me up one day and said, Ron, that's terrible. Stop it. And I got a lot of complaints about that. So I never, ever put background music in any of my videos. And I just think it's annoying.
I've interacted with a couple of copyright lawyers. And basically what they said is you can probably do most anything you want if it's a private membership meeting. So what we have this kind of decided that in the Leisure World group is that we want to know who everybody is coming in. We don't let anybody in with this is just a number or something. We want a name on it. And then if we ever got challenged, who knows, we could say this is clearly a private meeting. And so that changes all the rules for copyrights and all that stuff. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, the problem that you're going to have is that, and that's true, but you have to appreciate the hundreds of millions of video that are uploaded every hour on YouTube. And the fact that it is a global organization, and that each copyright law in each country would be different. So you can imagine the complexity of this. So when you create a video and you upload it, remember I showed you how to upload the video, it won't actually get published right when you hit the publish button. In the background, YouTube does something to it. It's optimizing it to there. So it's going to spin along, and it depends on the length of the video before it actually gets published. And one of the things they do is they're running it through that spin is that they're looking for copyright infringement. They're also looking for any nudity, any sex, or anything like that. You'll not find, you find lots of really sexy pictures as the title page. You know, you'll see, come watch our nude beach pictures, and you'll find this really cool picture on the top part. But once you play the video, there's nothing there. It gets X'd out right away on video. There's no pornography. There's no nudity. There's no profanity. There's nothing. In fact, one of the things you have when you publish it, you have to decide, you have to say in the default settings, is this for children or not? And nothing I ever make, nothing Bob makes is for children, really. So we just stay out of that. But
there's a caveat to that.
Pardon me?
There's a caveat to that.
What's
if
that?
you monetize your video, then it cannot be for children.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I had my channel set for not for children. I mean, for children. It's safe for children.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all my ads disappeared. And I said, what
really?
the heck is going on? Well, you can't have it safe for kids and also have ads. Because I guess some of the ads may not be safe for kids.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. I guess
so. You have to say that, no, this is not safe for kids, but you then declare that there's nothing in there that would prevent a child from watching it. So, crazy.
There you go. Well, I didn't know that. So I learned something today. So listen, it's 10:30. That's an hour and a half meeting that we've had. I know we're having fun, but we'll I think we should probably call it quits now. Yep. Go ahead. Nobody. Yeah. So we still have 17 people. So we started with 23, so we still have 17 people with us. So
24. Michael was here.
Michael, okay, 24.
Yeah.
So that's great. Carol, did you have any words of wisdom that you wanted to say or anything?
No, not really. I know this has been a crazy year, and everybody sometimes gets really down. I mean, It's been a hard year for all of our officers too, but you know, my only parting word is we haven't lost the magic. You know, our club is a very special club, and that's how I really feel. I feel that way about all our officers, and I feel that way about our members. So that's my parting words. We haven't lost the magic. Our members are special, and my officers are special. So with that, I love you all. Take care.
All right. All right. So everyone remember that we will have one more meeting. That will be the in 2 weeks time.
Yeah.
And that will be
to schedule a board meeting next week.
yeah, and I'll say because I'll do that for next week. And then that will be it. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is that I'm going to probably for the last 8 years, I've been sending out emails twice a week, newsletters from SilvercomCTC. And that gets more and more difficult now. And I think we're going to lay off of that until October when the club fires up again. I'll probably send out something once a month. If you want to keep in touch with everybody, just keep in, go over to Tech for Senior and we send lots of emails out with that, and we'll send your newsletter out with that. But I think we're not going to continue on with the twice weekly news. Every one of you are probably saying, "Yay, no more newsletters. I don't have to." But anyway, I think we'll probably hold off on that and maybe do a once a month sort of thing.
Is Silvercom going to go off the My Club Circle platform and move to something else soon
Yes.
or not?
Yes.
Yes.
That's going to be that's part of what the board meeting is going to be about. And we'll be talking. And Chris, you were at the last EVAC meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that for sure at our board meeting, and we're going to talk about that for sure at EVAC as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Have a great week, everyone.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon, and everyone stay safe, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Okay, bye now.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, Bob.